Well, today I actually want to talk about the elevation component of Seek. Mental health is not often talked about in the Black community. And it kind of sucks because we, I'm not trying to be biased, but to an extent being biased is that we're probably one of the main groups of people that probably experiences the most trauma. And then oftentimes we don't know how to cope with that. So then that gets lost in translation when we're trying to communicate, just like all the different stereotypes that come with that, like with Black women being the ones that are always angry, the angry Black woman, but I feel like sometimes that could really be a factor of this lack of wanting to talk about mental health and the importance of mental health. And I don't know if you've, spent much time maybe talking to your parents or talking to your grandparents and seeing what kind of experiences did they go through, the way you were raised, even kind of assessing some of those things. And, were you raised wealthy? Were you raised in a condition that wasn't so favorable? Were you on welfare? Were you on, did you have a lack of resources that you were able to really pick up on as you were growing up? Like, oh, those kids over there, they always get to, do this, or they can do that. Why can't I do that? How come my school doesn't provide us with books? How come our education system doesn't seem to be that great? And, a lot of these factors, do contribute to our mental health. And that can be, you can be raised in a really great environment and still struggle with mental health. And I feel like, especially for Black people, we need to start making this a conversation that's regular. And we don't. And so I wanted to kind of talk about that because to me, that was always baffling. Like, why don't we talk about it? Why is it so taboo to talk about it? Why is it, at least in the main idea or spectrum of our groups of people, why is it not okay to not be okay? You can't be strong all the time. And oftentimes we are written as these people that, I don't know what's going on with the shirt, but we are written off as these people that have to always be strong. Always be strong. No matter what's going on, no matter how life is knocking you over the head, you always gotta be strong. And that to me is almost bothersome. And if you want to be honest, that's awfully toxic too. And so let's talk about it. Sometimes it's okay to loosen up. A lot of us, we have this creative aspect, this creative side of us, and we are almost not really encouraged to express that, to be in a creative space. It's all about what's going to make you the most money, especially in Black households. Or even minority households, that's kind of the principle that is taught. If it don't make money, it don't make sense. And what we should be encouraging is the fact that if you are following your passion and you are good at what it is that you enjoy, that's what's going to gain traction. That's what's going to make money. Even with a lot of these different businesses that have been generated, it's all by people following their passion, seeing there's a problem in the world and wanting to correct it. And so that's why mental health is so crucial, because we're allowing a lot of resources to fall by the wayside. We're allowing a lot of opportunities to pass us by because we are always trying to compare ourselves to the next man or next woman, instead of seeing this as, hey, we in this together, came from the same situation. We have similar mindsets. We have similar goals. Let's work together. Let's create a solid foundation, but instead we view each other as competition. And so that causes us to not be as good, not have the best resources, not know how to do teamwork, and then, and feeling like the world is out to get us. And there are some, don't get me wrong, there's definitely some discrepancies in that. And there are some people that are working, there's certain factors that are working against certain minority communities. But personally, I feel like we can't let that be the standard. We can't keep saying this. Like, how long are we going to keep saying that we're the victims of the situation? You can only be so much the victim of life. Because life, what people fail to realize is life is happening to everybody. It might be happening to everybody differently, but life is always happening to everyone. And if we would be more sympathetic to each other's situation, if we would encourage people to really express themselves, like, encourage men to say it's okay to express your emotions. It is okay to cry. It is okay not to be strong all the time. It is okay to, sometimes fall short of your goals, fall short of not being able to provide. You don't always have to be the provider. And that's why we put ourselves in these constraints or certain boxes, and that prevents us from being more of what we can do. We have so much potential in so little time. The time is finite. We only got so many minutes, so many seconds, so many whatever you want to call it, but at some point it will expire. So if anything, we should be encouraging people to make the most of it. And as cliches say, live your best life. Go out there and, enjoy it. Because so often we are criticizing, I just, it's so baffling. That's why I'm struggling to even say this. It is so baffling to see the potential that's out there, the opportunities out there, if we will only shift our thinking. That's it. Because this is one of the things that I bring up. If some of you haven't been to any of my seminars, I talk about mental health. I talk about following your dreams, talking about shifting your mentality. I even talk about the neuroscience behind that and what that actually does to you. So to give you an example, and this, I like to talk about science. I'm kind of sciencey, but think about it like this. How is it that there's something called stress? How do you measure stress? Right? This is something you feel. It's something that's internal, and that's the extent of it, right? That's what you consider to be stress. However, it's something you can't see. It's something that's not tangible. You can't hold it. You can't, quantify it. It's just based on how you are feeling, which you can't see, right? But then we understand that stress, being something that's not tangible, can then manifest into something physical and tangible when you can get ulcers and different things like that from having too much stress. Well, where does stress come from? Stress is going to come from your mentality. Stress is going to come from how are you thinking about whatever situation that you're going through. And oftentimes we get so wrapped up in the particular situation that we lose sight of this is just a temporary setback. This is just a temporary inconvenience, and that it will pass. But we just don't give ourselves the opportunity to believe that. We get so wrapped up in the current right here, right now. And that's why we don't learn from our past, which we definitely need to work on. We don't learn from our past. And then we also don't, position ourselves to win in the future. We also allow ourselves to be kind of just, this is not a bash. This is really just, hey, let's put it out there. But oftentimes we do allow the world to dictate what success looks like for us, what happiness looks like for us, what love looks like for us. We allow the world to shape and mold that idea and shape and mold those perspectives. And really what we don't realize is most of those are all subjective. They are. It's what you want it to be. That's it. It don't take you getting it done. And then even in the midst of when I say follow your dreams, I'm talking about elevating yourself. It's not about who is rocking with you currently. It's not about who gave up on you when you decided to pursue a particular dream. It's not about, oh, my family didn't do it, so I can't do it, or I didn't have this type of education, so I can't get. There's so many examples of people that have been successful in spite of all of whatever happened to them. People who went from being homeless to millionaires. People who didn't have no education to being one of the best teachers in the world. For example, if you don't know him and you don't do a lot of personal development, I encourage you to look up a man named Les Brown. And so some of my professionals know, and some of my older people, y'all might know him. But for my younger crowd, I definitely encourage you to do some personal development. And that's another too, we don't talk about how, as cliche as it sounds, and we think it's corny. That, especially in the younger crowd, we tend to think it's corny if you're doing personal development, or if you are, listening, basically talking or doing some type of positive affirmation, right? And if anything, you should be doing those things. Like when you're driving, I'm gonna give you some examples, okay? So when you're driving, what things do you do, right? most of us are going to turn on the radio, or they're going to turn on whatever music that you got playing on your phone. And for most of us, that's not gospel. It's not. You know, most of y'all see your Cardi B. Nothing wrong. I like me some Cardi B, but that's what we are allowing to enter into our spaces. You know, something as simple as music can influence your mentality about your day. You can be internalized in how you will go about, you know, working with people. And you didn't even realize that. You got hype listening to whoever, and then now you like, they better not say nothing to me when I walk up in this office. They better not. And you already on the defense. It's like, reel it in. Where's that coming from? Why you hot? You just woke up. Be happy. Chill out. It ain't that deep. You know, and it's all about what are you allowing yourself to internalize? What are you surrounding yourself by? What are you allowing to enter your peace and enter your space? And we got to be very, very careful, because a lot of us are impressionable and we don't realize it. You know, they got the nature versus nurture type of concept. And that is, your environment will be a huge impact on how you go about everything. Because oftentimes we do use that as the excuse. Well, I was raised this way. Well, my family didn't do this. And it's like, okay, and like, who gonna change it? Like, y'all still gonna be doing the same thing? You still gonna be, you know, being in that same space? You still wanna be in poverty? You still wanna do these things? Well, if you expect it to change, where is it gonna change from? How about you? You know, that shouldn't be your extent. Let that be your experience. Let me say that. Let it be your experience. But don't let that spill over into your day-to-day things. You know, because some people will get real mad, and then they'll go out and then they'll do something that they regret, and then they let some opportunity fall just because of that one little tiny infinitesimal type of situation. In that one instant, they let it boil over, and then that translated into something that could have been a lifelong opportunity. So we got to do better. We got to do better in that mental space. Like, what are you telling yourself? What are you allowing yourself to feel? Because we like to hold it in. We like to look strong. We like to, and it could be because of society's pressures. It could be because of family. It could be whatever, the constraints in which you put on yourself. But at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we are being healthy. And for you to be healthy, even in your body, you know, that's going to start with you here. That's going to start here. It don't start like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, because you're here, your mind is going to basically allow you to keep going to the gym to get healthy. You know, your mind is going to make sure that you stay consistent with eating healthy foods. So it's going to start here. What most people realize is all your success and failure resides because of this. That's it. Like, and to give you my personal story, because I'm not trying to make this too long, but to give you my personal story, we was raised on welfare. We didn't have, you know, we weren't raised with a silver spoon in our mouths. We didn't have, I went to some, luckily, we had some pretty decent schools, but they were not in a decent neighborhood. Let me tell you that. Okay, we had some people like, hey, we ain't got no gates around this mug. Like, they just walking up in here. Like, who was that? You know, but no, for real. Like, we weren't in, you know, the greatest neighborhoods and the greatest situations. But what we did was, I'm going to make sure I'm reading. My mother, when we were driving, she would make sure that she put on these personal development books. And let me tell you, oh Lord, I was like, Mama, can we please put on the radio? Oh my God, if I hear this, well, what time would go crazy? But what you don't realize is, in the midst of her doing that, as much as we couldn't stand that, what is so funny about it is that we didn't even realize we were internalizing that information that was being played when she was playing these personal development books, when they were talking about being successful and keys to success. We didn't even realize that. And she looked up, I think it was like, I don't know, like maybe a couple months later, or a couple of weeks later, and I realized that my brother was singing the song. Like, it was like a song that's talking about personal development, and he was singing it, which is weird because one of my brothers, he has Asperger's, so he doesn't, you know, that was kind of a different thing, you know, like, what? And so now, you know, there was even a time where my brother even called my mother out and was like, hey, Oh, you talking about you're down? Remember those goals you set for yourself? You know, your mentality is everything. And then holding her to that same standard. It's like, ooh, so maybe y'all are listening. And so for those of you that are parents, I encourage you to, you know, put your children in spaces where, like, you know, play personal development. There's so many motivational tools out there, especially on YouTube, where if you want my list, definitely let me know in the comments and I can send you a whole lot. That's my thing. I love me some personal development. I love me some motivational talks because it's real, you know, and we need to really digest that information, because what we really need to think about is, what aren't we doing that everyone else is? Do you feel like they just are inherently more successful? I don't think so. I think we have some of the greatest gifts. I think we have some of the greatest, you know, the greatest minds, the most creativity. And the other cultures, they have great things within theirs as well. But, you know, if we would just, you know, going back to mental health, like if we would just accept what happened, accept what it is, that's what happened, and then make a conscious decision to change it and to do something differently, then we're going to have different results. We can't keep using our standard based off of what happened to us in the past or what's currently happening with us now. Because what matters most is, what are you doing about these things that are happening to you? It is about your response to those things, not the things that are happening. Those tests are intentional to test to see you're going to go right, you're going to go left. You're going to elevate, or you're going to come down to somebody's level. So that's that coworker you can't stand. That's that, you know, being mad at some family member that you feel ain't doing right by you, and your family ain't supporting you in your ventures, and ain't nobody showing up to your events. Don't matter. It don't even matter. Keep doing them anyway. And I made this post on Instagram before. It's like, consistency is going to be everything. And initially, it's not going to happen overnight. You're not just going to wake up and, oh, I'm just happy all the time and be on some furrow. I'm so happy. You're not going to be on that. It's not. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not going to happen overnight. But if you keep doing it, you keep doing repetitions, you keep, you know, surrounding yourself with like-minded people, with positivity, with making sure that you're feeding your mind with knowledge as well as positive affirmations and personal development, your life, I promise you, is going to change something serious. But it's going to have to start there. And we can't keep relying on saying, well, if I had this, because most of you, a lot of people are saying that if they had a lot of money, that their situation would change. They would be happy. They would be, all their dreams are going to come true because they got a lot of money. Well, let me tell you something. Having more money is only going to make you more of what you currently are. It's only going to give you access into more of the things that you're already currently doing. So if those things are not positive habits, if those things are not things that are going to benefit you in the long run, guess what? You're going to send yourself to an early grave really fast, because now you got the resources to accelerate that. So accept this journey right now. I encourage you, like, as far as in the health of, you know, mental health month of May, like, feel it. I know that sounds weird, but when you get certain emotions, feel it for a second. I want you to try this exercise, okay? When you have any type of negative thing that happens to you, whether it be a slight altercation, whatever, if something that happens to you, this is what I want you to do. 1, take a deep breath. Just, and most of us do it anyway. Like, girl, you know, but for real though, take that deep breath, because what you don't realize is that you're actually exhaling a lot of those impurities and things like that. So take it as deep as you can take it, and then breathe it on out, right? Think of all of, it sounds like yoga, but think of all the negativity, all the bad things that are happening in your life. Exhale it out. Just blow it out with that breath. And once you do that, then I want you to tell yourself 10 positive things. 10 positive things about yourself. 10 positive things that you like about yourself, that you like about your life, that how blessed you are. Just 10 things of positivity to yourself. And then I want you to think about, how am I going to respond to this? And am I reacting to this? And will this, I don't want to say that. Like, if by me reacting to this, will that better me or will that put me in a worse position? And if your answer is the second one, is the latter, then I suggest you leave it alone. You better walk away and say, I'm too blessed and too highly favored to be playing with your day devil. The devil's a lie. He's a liar. So you gotta give yourself these pep talks. Like this, I'm so serious. Like be your best advocate. You ain't gotta wait for somebody to be your advocate. Be your own advocate. You know, if things are not panning the way that you want them to, if finances, are finances is high and funds is low, still, you better see the positivity in that, because you are still alive today, and there's some people that couldn't even do that. So embrace that, just that alone, for the fact that you can still be here today. One, I'm thankful that you are still here. You better keep on pushing on. I'm so proud of you. But with the same token, keep pushing, because it's only temporary. So you might as well enjoy the ride. That's why movies, they have to have the suspense factor, and then they have the climax, and then the resolution. And you get it. It's just all a factor of life. But what you can say is that when all these different adversities and issues that come your way, I encourage you to instead look at it as an opportunity. It's gonna sound weird, but look at it as an opportunity, because when some bad things are popping, I'm like, ooh, I see what you're doing there, guys. I see what you're doing there. It's a little test. It's cool. Let's do it. And I literally, because I had to shift my way of thinking, because I was a hothead. I ain't gonna lie, I was a hothead. I was weak and go. But no, I mean, on a serious note, like, really take these things that if there is some bad things that are happening, there's some things real bad, like, and if you need to get counseling or something like that, definitely do that. And if you're in a bad situation, then make sure you get out of that. But if it's something that you have the power to control and that you have the power to kind of see differently, then this is what I'm kind of referring to. Make sure that you take those opportunities and you look at it as, you know what, Lord, I see there's something that's happening here, and there's a reason why I'm getting tested in this particular moment, because my success and my blessing is right on the other side of this turmoil that's going on right now. So for it to be real bad, it's about to be a real good blessing, and that's the way you gotta think about it. Okay, so as I always say, just make sure you strive, you elevate, you empower yourselves, and increase that knowledge, and take some time to take care of you, because this is all you got. So make sure you focus on this, and that's going to manifest and change your life. Change your mind, change your life. So I'm so thankful that you came to join me on today. I know it's been a while. I'm gonna have some updates for you that's coming up. The girls I've been traveling, so it's a lot that I gotta update you on. But I just want to kind of talk about that since this is the mental health month. So I love you guys. Oh, almost forgot. So before I go, make sure you follow me on Instagram. Of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done already, and turn on the notifications, as well as a new announcement. Your girl is now on Twitter. So go ahead, tweet it up, baby. Go ahead and send me some tweets. And if there's any topic matter that you want me to kind of discuss or talk more about, or if you want to actually have a chit chat, let me know. I definitely respond. You can DM me. You can, write me in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. And if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, let me know in the comments. Let me know why. And we can talk about it. So, but yes, I definitely appreciate you for joining in and tuning in to my channel, Seek Resources. And I'll give you some further updates in the near future. Love you guys. Bye.